The same program, right? Same program we kept. We are just launching this URL and waiting for the page title and heading. And then we are clicking on that browse button. Then WebDriver utils dot upload file with robot. So you can give file path. So the file path it will upload. And then so you click on upload button because one modal dialog is showing there in that I'm just clicking on the upload button there. Then so you have to wait for the success message. This is what we are doing. Okay, so let's run this. Not sure. So when I run it, it worked and now it's not working again. This is a strange. Let's run again. Pasting. Same issue we are getting again, right? Element not yet. So this morning it worked. Mhm. It is there. And this is what happening. Okay. Let me run again. So strange. Sometimes it is working. Okay. So fine, we don't want to waste time. So it worked, it works maximum. Maybe some issue with my system. You try it out, okay? You try, it might work for you. So, but code is the same code. You don't need to do anything. The code is perfect. Okay. So after this, I want to execute one more program that is date picker. So let me show you this. So this date picker, basically you need to select a date. So whatever the date you are giving in the current month, so it has to select that. So this is the one. When you click on this, so this is the month, right? In this month, whatever the date you are giving, so that date it has to select it. So this is a program we are doing now. Okay, this is the program we are doing. So how to do this? When you click on this, the calendar will open. In the calendar, you have all the dates. So you give whatever the day you want to select. That day you select it. So that's, let me show you that program we have written. See, first launch the URL, okay? And then switch to iframe, because this is the iframe, right? So you have to switch to this iframe. Then you click on this, edit box. So you can see there is a, so input ID date picker. You need to click on date picker. That's what we are doing here. After switching to the iframe, then you are clicking on the, so date. So driver dot find element by dot. So by dot, this one I assign to one variable. By dot xpath will return a by type. So that I am placing it. Otherwise, directly you can write this one here. Dot click. So, and once you click on this, you need to select handle jQuery date time picker. You give the which day you want to select in the current month. So you wait for the this UI date picker div. So you need to wait for this UI date picker div. Okay, so UI date picker div, you select it. Then so you are finding the table, this entire table. So there is a table you can see here. Expand it. You can find the table. This is the table. So UI date picker calendar. So in this calendar, you have all the rows and columns. See, rows and columns will be there. So then, so table rows, you get all the table rows from this table. So you fetch all the rows in the table. So from this table, you fetch all the rows. These are the rows. So how you are fetching all? XPath /tr. TR means all table rows. From this, no, you iterate the each row. So each row inside again you have columns. Columns means TDs. So that's what I'm doing here again. So iterate the rows for web element, row colon table rows, and list web element cells. I'm getting all the cells in this row. See, row, not a driver. Here also see element dot find elements. So that means table inside how many rows you are fetching here. Now each row has a multiple columns. Row dot find elements by dot xpath /td. So all the columns you are fetching here and storing. For web element, cell colon cells. I'm iterating cells also. If cell dot get text equals to the whatever the day you cell means each date is a one cell. This one. Each cell is a one day. So if that cell data is equal to the day that you are giving for the for this method as an argument, and then you click on that because it's a link. Driver dot find element by dot link text, click it. So then it will select driver dot switch to default content, and you just scroll up a little bit. So that is the, so how to select a date from the calendar. So let's run this. Where is the browser, right? I can give optional browser. @ optional browser. I'll give Chrome. So let's run this. See, it's done. Which date is, did you observe which date it is selected? What date we have given? Okay, here, right? Date is 31st. So 31st is there. Let me give 25th. Okay. May, yeah, 31st is there, but still, let's run this again. See, 25th is selected. Okay. So that's how to select a date from the calendar. Okay. Now, another interesting program we have is one more. What is the other one? Web tables. Web tables, how to handle this is also one important interview question. How can you handle dynamic web tables? That question, you will get that. Before that, let's go and first so understand the shadow elements, how to handle. Okay, shadow DOM. So we have option here, you can see as shadow DOM. First, let's understand what is shadow DOM. So you already know what is DOM, right? Document object model. Basically, your HTML document, XML document, all this comes under a DOM. So this is any document, so HTML document, so is going to have a different elements. Now that elements are so nested inside the DOM. So and a custom components and also more security if you want to give, people will use a shadow DOM concept. So basically, Shadow DOM is a functionality that allows the web browser to render DOM elements without putting them into the main document DOM. So main HTML document. So you can separately can put that. So into that, that's a Shadow DOM. This creates a barrier between what the developer and the browser can reach. So that's the Shadow DOM. If you observe here, you have a document tree. So this is a document, and you can separately create this component, shadow DOM component. First, a shadow host will be there, then shadow root, and then the elements will be there. So this is the all. See, this document has these components, but separately you can create a shadow DOM. So this is the document inside shadow host, then shadow root, then shadow trees will be there like this. These are all the elements. The regular DOM node to which a shadow DOM is attached. So that's the shadow host means. Shadow tree means the DOM tree inside the shadow DOM. So this is the complete so chain of elements are there. That's the shadow tree, we call that. Shadow root, the root node of the shadow tree. The root node. This is the root node of the so shadow tree. That's the shadow root. So what is the use of shadow DOM? So have their own space. So it has its own ID space. So it serves as an encapsulation. You already know encapsulation means encapsulation is basically provides more security, right? it allows a component to have its own shadow DOM tree that can't be accidentally accessed from the main document. So have their own ID space, invisible to JavaScript selectors from the main document, such as query selector. So use styles only from the shadow tree, not from the main document. And so how to find this shadow DOM elements using Selenium WebDriver? If you want to find the shadow DOM elements directly, you cannot write a driver dot find element by dot locator. You cannot use that. If you use, you will get a no such element exception you will get. So what is the exception you will get? No such element exception you will get if you try to use direct object identification. So to handle that, first you need to get the get shadow root method is there in the WebDriver. Selenium WebDriver 4, they provided a get shadow root method is there. Get shadow root element, you get it, and then you can find out that element. So that is what the approach you need to follow. Before we were using a JavaScript executor, but now you don't need in Selenium 4, you can directly call get shadow root method. So that will give the shadow element, and that element you can perform the actions. But there are many shadow root elements will be there. So one example is this is the one. So Chrome : if you use this Chrome : $/downloads, you can see here. Let me show you that. Chrome : downloads. For example, I want to type something here in this edit box. How can you type it? Right? So suppose you want to identify this edit box. How can you identify this? So let's see that. This is here, right? ID search input. But above this, if you observe this, there are so many shadow root elements. See that? So body after you have a download manager. So that is under a shadow root open. Then after this, you can observe here. Let me give this side. Left side, I'll bring to left or right. I want. Okay, let's bring here. Okay. Expand this. Okay, I need should go down to detach this. Okay, now you are clear, right? Now it's visible, right, for you. So download manager is the one parent. Okay, root one. Then so you have a shadow root. So this tag, this is the tag. This is the tag. Then shadow root. So after that, see next down is here. So these are not down, right? These bullet icons. Downloads toolbar. So this is the another shadow root. So then you see that next shadow root is CR toolbar. CR toolbar is a shadow root. After this, you can see next one is CR toolbar search field. There is a shadow root. And all this, nested, you have to go down to get this. Next shadow, after this shadow root, where we have next anywhere. After this, we don't have any other shadow root. Directly your input tag. So this many shadow root elements you have to identify. First you find out the root, then you find the shadow root element. From that shadow root element, the next shadow root you find out. Next root element you find out. From that root, you find the shadow root element. So like this, you have to find out one by one. And so that is what I have showed you. Shadow root 1, shadow root 2, shadow root 3, shadow root 4. So these are all the different. See, all are open. If it is open only, you can easily drill down. If it is not open, it's difficult. Again, Selenium cannot recognize that. That's another challenging task. So make sure this path, we should follow that. So let's see how to type here the value. Without a shadow root, if you use, and you'll get a no such element action. Directly, if I give ID equal to this input, right? If you give ID search input, if you give, and it won't recognize, it will say no such element exception. So generally straightforward, right? ID, but because this is the shadow root element, not the same. See, your download manager is ending here, somewhere here. See here, download here, download manager is ending here. Till here, so this entire thing is a shadow root element. Shadow DOM. This all is a shadow DOM. So how to handle this kind of things? So let me show you that. Okay. See this one by one. I'll explain. Carefully catch that. See, I'm just now opening the Chrome downloads. I'm opening first. See, so you first identify the first root one. Driver dot find element by dot tag name downloads manager. This one, the top one. This one. Tag name, right? This is the tag name. That's why I used tag name locator, or you can use a CSS selector also, any one. This one I used. So that's the root one. The top one is, this one is a root one. From that root, I need to get the shadow root element. From this root element, I need to get the shadow root element. So search context. So shadow root one equal to root one dot get shadow root. So get shadow root from this element. So root element, I'm getting the shadow root element. So this is the one. Again, from this shadow root, you need to get the root 2. See, from this, this after, next, where is the next shadow? This one. So downloads toolbar. So next I'm getting shadow root 1 dot find element by dot CSS selector downloads toolbar. See, downloads toolbar. Then I'll get the shadow root. So root 2 dot get shadow root method you are calling. On this web element, root 2 web element, you are calling get shadow root. So then search content shadow root 2. Then, so web element, so shadow root 2 dot find element by dot CSS selector. Next one is CR toolbar. CR toolbar. So CR toolbar. So root 3 dot get shadow root method, and you'll get a shadow root 3. From this shadow root 3, you get the next root 4 element. So that is, so next one is CR toolbar search field. So CR toolbar search field. So you got that. From that root 4, you get the shadow root method, and that will give the search context element. And from this element, the next final one, right? So from that, you are giving that input. So this is the last one, that shadow root 4 dot find element by dot CSS selector hash search input dot send keys. I'm just searching Selenium. Otherwise, we can search something. This one, good and sample. So I'll just give this one. Okay, good and simple. So it should return for us that one. Okay. So let's run this. It's not the. See, it typed. See, typed that value. For example, if you know without this, all these shadow elements, if you write a driver dot find element, for example, this one, if you write directly driver dot find element, suppose I'll comment out that and I'll see that. Okay, driver dot find element. Okay, so this if I write directly, so now what will happen? I just want to show you. Comment out this, all this, root one, everything. You just comment out. Now see what will happen. If you call directly without a shadow element, so it will say no such element exception it will throw. See, no such element exception you will get. So if there is a shadow root elements, you must follow this concept. So otherwise it's going to throw an exception, no such element exception. Okay, so let me show you one more example. So we have one more. Let me show you this. You just see how many shadow element. First, get the root element, right? Web element root equal to driver dot find element by dot tag name or CSS selector. You give that a tag name. Then from that root, you get the root dot get shadow root method you call, and it will give a search context type. From there, any element you can identify. See here, so this is the GUI generator. So you just need to click on this. It will generate this and you need to copy this. But all this, if you want to do this, okay, and everything, these icons and this copy icon, all these are, so you need to click on this icon, right? Then you can need to click on this copy. The sequence of steps generates new GUID and copies to the clipboard. And assertion step to your test to compare the value from the clipboard and the value of the input field inside. So you need to get the input field value. How to get the input field value? How can you get the input field value? I already told, right? Okay. So anyhow, we'll see that, but see this is the one shadow DOM. Then you have a shadow root. So GUID generator. This is the shadow root, right? First one, shadow root. It is starting from here only. So this one, first you web element root equal to, so driver dot find element by dot tag name GUID generator. So then you get the shadow element, search context shadow root element equal to root dot get shadow root. Then you identify this. So here you have a buttons, right? This button you identify. This the so generator, and this one is a copy button. Okay, so these two elements you identify that, and we want this edit box also. This edit box also we want edit field, because you need to get that value, right? Once it is generated, you need to get this value. So this value you need to get, but then you need to identify that field also. 3 fields you need to identify. So that's what I'm doing here. So say first search context, shadow DOM context, you identify that. I directly called get shadow root here itself, and you are getting a search context. So then this shadow DOM context dot find element by dot CSS selector, you are clicking on the button, the generate button. So what is that? Clicks on this icon, clicks on that icon. Generator button. Okay. So then you need to I identify the element. Okay, so you identify this element, shadow dot find element by dot CSS selector. That edit field class value there is in class edit field. So dot class value. So I identified that input field. So you get that. So input text string, you get it. So input text string, how can you get? So one way is you can do with get attribute of value. Otherwise, there is a JavaScript code also. So that I have used here a JavaScript code. So string, input text string, JavaScript executor of driver, execute script, see return arguments of 0 dot value. So you will get this element value. What is the value that I'm storing here? So this is another way to get the value. So that value, then you copy that. Okay, you click on the copy button. So here we are clicking on the copy button. Click on copy button. So here fetching the input field value. So input field value we are fetching. So we clicked on the generator button, then the value will write, the value will populate. Here the value is populated. So once I click on this, the value is populated. Now I'm fetching this value with the JavaScript executor, execute script, return arguments of 0 dot value. So you will get the value and for this element. So in this element, whatever the value attribute value is there, that will fetch, and that I'm storing in this variable. So then I'm copying. So I'm clicking on this copy button. Click on copy button, shadow domain. So element dot find element by dot CSS selector and hash button copy, click it. So I clicked it. Then, so you need to copy that, you need to get that. So clipboard value, clipboard toolkit dot get default toolkit, get system clipboard, and clipboard dot get data flavor, string flavor. So you'll get a string flavor object clip data. So if clip data equals to input string, test is passed. You can put assertion. So no need of this. You can put assertion directly. You can put assertion. So assert equals. So, and you can just put clip data and input text string. What happened? I think test ng it is. We should not use that. Test ng, use arc.testng. Okay, so that's it. Is this clear? We have only one shadow root here. Then shadow root inside you have all these. This is the one element, this is the one element, this is the another element. So all that shadow element dot find element. So I'm just you can see shadow element dot find element, shadow element dot find element. I'm just clicking and then identifying that elements. Even you can use get attribute of the value attribute, and you will get that also. That's another way. See, it is passed. So test is passed. So this is the shadow root elements, how to handle. So what is the method you need to call? Get shadow root method. This is the Selenium 4. They introduced this method.